I guess none of this is a spoiler because it's been out on TV for a few days.
It has, yes.
We're talking about Werewolf by Night, which is a really cool thing that the MCU has added. It's on Disney Plus. If you've not subscribed to us, now would be a great time because we do all this kind of MCU stuff over at our Patreon as well. We're always dipping into it here. We are all things to all people as we trudge on toward 20,000. Please join us.
Right.
It's so nice to have so many new folks around. But Alonso, please tell us about Werewolf by Night.
This Halloween, you can't escape the shock, the terror of Werewolf by Night.
This is MCU deciding, okay, not everything has to be a movie, not everything has to be a series. Maybe we can just do some standalone specials that are less than an hour, and that's what this is. So Gael Garcia Bernal plays Jack Russell, which apparently even back in the comics, people were like, really? That's the name? But, it was a coincidence.
I didn't realize that. His last name is Russell.
Yes. We're told early on about the legend of the Bloodstone and this guy, Ulysses Bloodstone, who for millennia has been hunting down and destroying monsters that roam the earth. He has finally died, and so his widow, Verussa, played by the great Harriet Sansom Harris, welcome to the MCU, has gathered the world's greatest hunters to see who deserves to receive the Bloodstone now that he's gone. A surprise person who shows up is Bloodstone's daughter, Elsa, who claims that she should have a crack at it as well. And they are all unleashed into the garden of the Bloodstone Manor to track down a monster. It turns out that Jack and the monster are chums, and he's only there to try and rescue his buddy. But when he's repelled by the Bloodstone, they realize that he too is a monster. In fact, the Werewolf by Night.
I guess none of this is a spoiler because it's been out on TV for a few days.
It has, yes. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know what we're talking about.
Anyway, retroactive spoilers. So yeah, and the creature, if we're just doing it, we're
Sure.
doing it. Okay, it's Man-Thing.
Man-Thing!
But they call him Ted, which is so freaking funny. To give Man-Thing the most mundane dude's name of Ted.
Which is his name, Dr. Theodore Salas, but still.
Oh, that's so funny.
Whoever knows fear burns at the touch of Ted does not have quite the same ring to it.
So this is from Michael Giacchino. This is his first, I don't want to call it his first feature. He's done a couple of shorts, and I guess this is feature length, whatever you want to call it. But it's a really rich and detailed and loving homage to monster movies of the 1930s and 40s from the very beginning, from the titles, the use of shadows.
Black and white.
The black and white, of course, and the way that it uses like the shadows to indicate transformation. So like as Gael Garcia Bernal's character is going from being a werewolf back to a human, you see that in behind him on the wall, and like it's just really cool in its details. And then of course the Bloodstone itself is a bright red in the middle of all of that. Yeah, there's a great feel for style and mood, and it's funny but also legitimately terrifying quite frequently. I love the cinematography here. I knew you'd be so pumped when Harriet Sansom Harris showed up.
I recognized her behind the veil. I was like, is that her?
The voice is distinctive. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, in Licorice Pizza, she is
the
agent
on the phone
is interviewing Alana Hayam, and it's like this one incredibly bizarre and riveting scene. But she's so great. Yeah, it's pretty thin. This thing is kind of an exercise in style. There's not a whole lot of characterization, but it's joyful in playing with these familiar tropes.
Did you find it genuinely frightening? Because I have to say I didn't, but I didn't mind because I like the homage aspect of it so much.
There are some moments here and there, like the thing that happens when you see Harriet Sansom Harris's face like against the cage. Like there's some startling moments here. Maybe not terrifying, but like startling, and there's verve to them. How about that?
It's fun, it's atmospheric. I like Michael Giacchino. I like the idea of like, well, if John Carpenter can direct movies and compose, I can compose and direct movies. And I liked his score, by the way. It's actually it's also quite good, and also I think very much a throwback to the kind of universal horror that's going on here. So like that, the thing about DC and Marvel really is like these companies have been around for so long. Their IP goes so far beyond superheroes, because back in the day they put out romance comics and they put out like teen comedy, Archie ripoff books and stuff. I love how the Archie universe on TV has expanded to include like the creepy Sabrina show, but also like Millie the Model. Like, so there's a lot of ways to go. Or is Millie the Model Marvel? Anyway, you know what I mean. Katie Keene. Millie the Model is Marvel, but they could do a Millie the Model show if they wanted, and it would be in the MCU. So yeah, I'm all for them like branching out into the other stuff they do. Like Damage Control has sadly turned into the kind of oppressive bureau in these things, but I would have loved a sitcom based on that because it was a funny idea. So yeah, no, I had fun with this. Bernal is great and commits himself to the bit. I didn't love the werewolf look entirely. Like I thought there were, there's different ways to go with it. I kind of like, I thought the face needed to be either more lupine or hairier or something, but minor quibbles. I had a lot of fun watching.
You can tell it's him. Like,
absolutely,
it's his face. It's not like
sure.
it's not like it's Jacob in Twilight.
True.
Also, I love the idea that both of the stars of Itu Mamata
I was thinking about that.
are now doing these big Disney Plus things. So Gael Garcia Bernal is in the MCU, Diego Luna is in the Star Wars world.
Exactly.
They come a long way from their Mexican indie roots.
I saw Gael Garcia Bernal drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's, and his fur was perfect.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and I was watching it with Nick, and he's like, "I love the look of this," which makes me now want to go back and show him the real thing that this is inspired by. So if your kids watch this and they're interested in this kind of movie making and this kind of style, maybe it's a good gateway to classic film that way.
Yeah, go show them The Wolfman or Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, like any of the Lon Chaney Jr. movies. I'm involved in this thing on Shudder called Queer for Fear. It's a documentary series, and it really makes me want to go revisit all the old James Whale movies. So it's never too early to show them the old Dark House.
For sure. So do you want to give this a number?
Sure, I'll say 8. I had a good time. I would like to see more Werewolf by Night, but I would like to also see more of these, like tight little under an hour MCU like things,
Yes, Marvel special presentations.
Exactly.
I will say 8.2-ish because I had a really good time. Like, there's not much to it. It's kind of thin. It's just style. It's kind of like empty fun style, but it's really enjoyable, and a lot of care went into it, and a lot of humor. Like when he keeps trying to throw the little bomb thing at the wall and it keeps bouncing, and
you don't want 2 hours of empty style, but 54 minutes is just right.
Perfect.